Well, hello everybody. My name is Jan-Hendrik Goldbeck. Hi from Germany. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Construction 4.0, or at least how we do understand it. I would like to share a little bit of our history and how we try to step by step improve the way on how to go on about with construction and how to perhaps bring pretty much archaic construction history to a, say, brighter future based on efficiency, based on technology, and based by reinterpreting the value chain. So, but how did we do that? What's our pitch? It all started off in 1969 with my father, who actually kind of emancipated himself from his father, who was a smith at that time. And he founded a new company in order to do things better in construction. One big problem which currently exists in construction as of today is the fact that construction is regarded each time as a singular project, and in the worst case with a very sequential interaction of our participants. First in design, where you have 10 to 20 different parts of engineering and architecture, and then of course, on the construction side, where you have 30, 40, 50 trades who have to be coordinated. The one thing about thinking in projects is recurring individuality, meaning that you over and over and over have to reinvent the wheel. Our idea in 1969, and thanks my father, since I wasn't born at that point of time, was, well, how could we use some of that magic ingredient of the automotive industry, which used industrialization to create more efficient parts. And so we started off producing building parts, steel parts at that point of time in an industrial environment. But the problem is if the smart people, the architects and engineers, define a building and as a whole up until the very last screw, then you just always have to somehow make yourself heard in terms of that you have a good element that they should use. So you can exchange that, or you can basically be heard a little bit better if you offer more value. So that was in the 70s, the pitch from producing elements into producing whole systems, load-bearing systems, also at that point of time in steel. So then you enhance the value chain, and enhance the value that you propose, but you still don't solve the problem. And then I think the final disruption came in the 1980s, where we actually decided we don't want to offer only a load-bearing system like IKEA or Lego. We want to finish the full product. So by using a system, creating a superior turnkey design-build product. So we focused on different industrial real estate asset classes, meaning warehouses and production facilities, meaning car parks, offices, and by now it's also schools and affordable housing. So pretty basic real estate, but I think reducing yourself actually to this sort of very basic narrow product approach, it makes you strong, it makes you even better able to really define this sort of product. In order to be heard, you have to be close to the customer. And to do that, you have to be regional, because construction in the most cases is decided regionally. So this is the origin of our decentralized organization, which I will come back to you later on a little bit. So, but currently we have 70 locations throughout Europe in order to be close to the customer when he first starts thinking about a project. And you just can't be there and do your marketing pitch. You have to, of course, offer value. And this is why we transformed not only to be a construction company, which delivers turnkey construction with a production part, meaning we produce production components. It was only steel. Now it's steel, aluminum, windows, doors, it's concrete, it's facades, so it's hybrid elements. So it's a pretty broad range now. And you also have to be able to offer design quality and design skills. And this is why we're one of the largest design, engineering, and architectural offices. But the point is, we just design what we want to build, and we just build what we actually did design. Of course, we can cooperate with architects in the first initial design phases, and we like that. We like that creativity approach. We like the capabilities of bringing things to the point with the customer. But then if it comes to execution design, we have to do it ourselves. So this was the journey in the 80s, in the 90s, after the fall of the German Wall. Everything kind of accelerated, and we dared actually to go abroad, or not abroad, but in different countries. And we decided to go with Central Europe in the beginning. And now it's basically the whole of Europe. I think key takeaway from this situation is that you actually are daring to do something which is not so common at that point of time. For a middle-sized company, family-owned, to really go into another market was for us a challenge, but actually it helped us to manage that construction crisis, which was havocing in Germany from 1995 to 2004, so almost 10 years. And then basically the company development really kicked in exponentially by 2005. Why is that? First of all markets were good again. And then of course, we were really had this one significant feature of being quite stubborn. We believed in this idea of looking at a construction project as a product. And of course, it's tedious hard work because you have to solve millions of small problems, and especially you have to convince the people that you don't do just boring stuff, but that you actually are able to meet the customers' ends architecturally and from a use perspective to a 100%. So you have to be flexible. That's, I think, this tightrope that you have to walk on the one hand side, individualizing what is visible to actually also be able to create buildings with a unique appeal and with a custom tailored user experience. And on the other hand side, actually to be able to standardize everything which is invisible, say the backbone. And of course, many details where in normal construction projects, architects and engineers try to solve them again and again. At the cost of having a lot of mistakes and reducing the quality. So, and then I think another major impact was in 2011, where we actually had the possibility to change our design software. And first of all, it was in the beginning just the idea, hey, now we use something called Revit. It's three-dimensional design. That was ooh. But I think after 1 or 2 years, I realized that this is really like the verge of something completely new, because it's not about three-dimensional planning. It's about causing in the end a sort of singularity of construction where all information actually is in a symbiosis with each and every single bit of information. So basically you get every information involved, available, usable, and you are also able to forecast the whole building situation. I will get back to you pretty soon on that. So this is the idea how we, from a bootstrap startup, evolved to be a Europe-wide market leader in industrial and commercial construction. That's the business model, but don't forget there is another magic ingredient to that soup. That's company culture. Always ever so important. I would say even more important than the business model, and especially if you want to scale. And that's about trust and responsibility. So we trust the people that they, with their specific task, have more information and therefore are better able to actually solve a problem. But we expect responsibility. To take over responsibility, we expect that from ourselves, and we expect that from all our employees. And in the end, this ingredient turns out to be a company of entrepreneurs. And if you can do that, if you can really wake all the entrepreneurial spirit which is in each of us, then I think you just create a very strong momentum with a high level of aspiration, which is necessary to actually create an outstanding company. So let me just share some slides in regards to what we actually do and where we are right now. Should be there in any minute. So We actually are currently a company of 8,100 employees with 4 billion euro operating revenue. So I said 74 locations, and we have 10 production plants. I think most of it I already mentioned, so I will be a little bit faster in terms of what I actually I'm referring to in regard not to read all what I've referred to before. So we are European, meaning in almost all European countries. The light blue that you can see here is actually the situation where we have acquired a company called GSE, which is market leader in industrial real estate in France. So that was also a very interesting situation. I always say, be curious and be respectful. If you want to go for M&A stuff, respect the original culture of a company, especially if it's a foreign company. And by doing that, I think you have a fantastic momentum to broaden your horizon also culturally and, of course, business model-wise. Then you have just a positive interference and just look at the best of both worlds, and both companies can profit from that. Just briefly, because I don't have too much time, is what are we doing in regards to our approach as a product? We're not only a product anymore, a three-dimensional product. It's a product service ecosystem, basically same thing as you have with a phone. We start in discussing clients' needs, then we actually do the model as a foundation with a lot of front loading of information. We go better earlier than later into a very thorough description of what the building and the time frame on the construction site will be like, everything put into the model. Then we produce the elements. Ideally, it's industrialized construction, so there are a lot of shortcuts from the different steps of design to actually the CNC information for the machines to actually produce parts. Then we have logistics and the turnkey final assembly, but we don't stop at the handover. But then we have 5 years of institutionalized customer contact, which we actually use. And so in that regard, we have the possibility to stay at the customer sites and really then to see where is his need to refurbish, to expand, to react on ESG demands. And with that situation, I think we are capable of then harvesting on what comes up in the use phase for the customer and then start new projects by doing that. The key is R&D organization. So we have a strong backbone of curiosity in our company, and it's innovation. We have very thorough trend and technology scouting. We have developed product strategies for each of our product. We develop production parts, we develop new machines, we develop technologies together with other companies. Then we have our products which are developed further each time we actually build a product. We have a continuous improvement process. And then this is actually in a direct relation to our building systems. It's important, of course, that systems are producible and that we just keep this stubbornness in really trying to gain more information each time that you actually do a product. And then, as I said, the services, you stick to the customer. Very important in terms of our scouting process is a small office in the Silicon Valley. Where as everything happens, as you know, and so it's interesting in this chart. It's still Catera on there. I guess some people are still there. It's a pity, but because it was just really a great idea behind Catera. But we've had 50 years at GOLDBECK to make mistakes, which Catera didn't have. So I think everything was too fast at one time, and we just had taken it more slow, but very much in the same direction with this production and value chain integration as Catera does. So where will the future take us? Almost at the end and out of time now. So I think This is most likely common knowledge to all of you. We have those core elements of the future of construction. Basically, everything's based on a model. Then you have from this theoretical model as a target model, you have the basically the real-time model on the construction side. Then you have a real-time and target model comparison, which makes you able to actually use VR, AR, and especially, of course, robotics on the construction side. Then, of course, if you have a thorough interpretation of what the construction side is like and to compare current situation to target situation, you can base AI mechanisms on that. And in order to detect snags and construction progress and make use of robots, as I said. So this is something where I'm very sure of. We will have those real-time digital twins. This is really a frontline technology which causes us to be more sharp, more transparent, more precise, and in order to be more efficient, we are able, if we have this precision and transparency, we can parallelize processes which will make you better in the end. And cheaper also. I believe that, I mean, you can't imagine that at this current time, but I think in a while we will be able to be faster and cheaper again. Automation technologies are, of course, in all regards of production for us, a situation which will enable us. So almost last slide, as I said, we will become a product service ecosystem. It's basically like the phone, but it's all those smart technologies which really enable you to drive a building efficiently. Everybody knows that if you hit the pedal to the metal with a car and then you break down and do something again and again, this will cause a lot of energy. Same thing is with the building, and there are so many energy consumption fields where you have energy loss and not good use and thorough use of a building. So there's a lot of potential in that regard to really steer building in all regards of services and media use perfectly well, which will be enabled by this technology. So these are just glimpses, and I would be really happy to get in touch with you guys if you have good ideas, good technologies. We're always the company who's cherishing use cases. We have all those use cases of 600 projects per year in-house, which well, it's not only stupid German money, but we try to be smart German money and to try to interact with you and give you the basic framework for scaling your ideas if it suits to our idea of construction, of seeing construction as a product. I'm out of time. It was my pleasure to speak here, and I'd say thank you. Just getting back to you in a physical way. We're international, and definitely I'll be around in many countries now that it's most likely possible again. I'd like to meet some of you where technologies match with our approach, and have a good time. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.